Everybody in Ocean County who qualifies for the senior freeze thinks the same thing. My taxes are frozen. They're not going up anymore. I'm protected. Here's the truth. Your property tax bill still goes up every single year. The senior freeze does not stop that. What it does is send you a reimbursement check from the state of New Jersey for the difference between what you pay now and what you paid in your base year. Those are two very different things. And that misunderstanding, the one word freeze, is causing Ocean County homeowners to make real financial mistakes. Mistakes that cost them their reimbursement checks. Mistakes that cost them thousands of dollars when they sell. Mistakes that get them quietly disqualified from the program without ever knowing it happened. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how the senior freeze works, who qualifies, and what can knock you out of it. And if you're thinking of selling, what you need to know before you sign a listing agreement. Stay to the end because the sell timing piece is something most agents will never tell you. The official name of the program is the Property Tax Reimbursement Program. The state of New Jersey calls it PTR. Everyone in Ocean County calls it the Senior Freeze. And that nickname, as helpful as it sounds, creates the confusion. Here's how it actually works. When you first enroll, the state establishes what they call your base year. That's the amount of property taxes you paid in the year you first qualified. Let's say your base year was $7,000. From that point forward, even if your town raises your assessment and your bill goes up to $9,000, $10,000, $11,000, the state reimburses you the difference. So if your bill is now $10,500, the state sends you a check for $3,500. Your bill still went up. Your town still collected the higher amount, but the state made you whole for the increase above your base year. That's the program. Now, there are a few important things to understand about how the reimbursement works in practice. First, it is not automatic. You have to file every single year to receive it. The state does not send you a check just because you're enrolled. If you don't file, you don't get paid. Second, the reimbursement comes as a check, typically in the spring or summer following the tax year. So you pay the full bill first, then you get reimbursed. You need to budget for that. Third, the reimbursement amount is only as good as the gap between your current taxes and your base year. If your base year was recent, the gap is small. The longer you've been enrolled, the more valuable the benefit becomes. That's the program at its core. Now, let's talk about who qualifies. There are 5 basic requirements to qualify for the NJ Senior Freeze in 2026. I'm going to walk through each one. First, age. You must be 65 or older by December 31st of the tax year you're applying for, or if you're receiving Social Security disability benefits, you may qualify regardless of age. Second, residency. You must have been a New Jersey resident for the entire tax year, full year, no partial years. If you split time between New Jersey and Florida or another state, and you've established residency elsewhere, this is where you need to be careful. Your residency status for tax purposes controls your eligibility. Third, homeownership. You must have owned and lived in your home as your principal residence for the entire year. A home you own but rent out does not qualify. A vacation property does not qualify. It has to be where you actually live. Fourth, income. For the 2025 tax year, the income limit is $163,050 from all sources. That includes Social Security, pension, IRA, distributions, investment income, wages, everything. This is a gross income figure and not adjusted. I'm going to come back to the income piece in a few minutes because it's one that trips up sellers the most. Fifth, continuity. You must have paid the property taxes on your home for both the base year and all subsequent years without interruption. If you missed a year or if your eligibility lapsed for any reason, you lose your base year and have to start over. All 5 of those have to be true every single year you file. Miss any one of them in any given year and you're out. You may not find out until you don't receive your check. If you've been following my channel, you know I've covered Stay NJ and PAS-1 extensively. Here's how the Senior Freeze fits into that picture. New Jersey now has 3 major property tax relief programs for seniors: Stay NJ, the Senior Freeze, and Anchor. Beginning in 2026, all 3 are applied for through a single combined application called PAS-1. You do not file separate applications for each program anymore. You file PAS-1 and the state determines which program provides you the greatest benefit. Here's the critical point. These programs do not stack. You do not receive Stay and J plus Senior Freeze plus Anchor all at once. The state applies only the one that benefits you the most. Which one wins depends on your specific situation, your income, your base year gap, your home's assessed value. For most long-term Ocean County homeowners with a low base year and a high current taxes, the senior year freeze reimbursement will typically be the largest benefit. For newer homeowners or those with similar tax gaps, Stay and J may be more valuable. The PAS-1 application process is designed to figure out that for you, but you need to file it correctly and completely. If you've not filed your 2026 PAS-1 yet, I have a complete walkthrough of that process in a previous video. I'll link it in the description. Let me give you the 5 most common mistakes I see Ocean County homeowners make with the senior freeze. Mistake 1, not filing at all. People assume because they qualified last year, the benefit continues automatically. It does not. You must file your PAS-1 every single year before the November 2nd deadline. If you don't file, you don't get paid. It's that simple. Mistake 2, missing or filing an incomplete PAS-1. Since 2026, PAS-1 is a single combined application for the senior freeze, Stay and J, and Anchor. If you don't file it, or if you file it with incomplete information, your senior freeze reimbursement does not get processed. There is no separate PTR form to fall back on. One application, one deadline, one chance per year. I have a complete PAS-1 walkthrough in a prior video. That link is in the description. Mistake 3, exceeding the income limit. The $163,050 limit covers all income from all sources. Seniors who take a large IRA distribution receive a one-time pension payout or sell an investment property in a given year can accidentally push past that limit. Once you're over, you're disqualified for that year and lose your continuity. Mistake 4, title changes, adding a child or a family member to the deed, transferring the property into a trust, or making any ownership change that can interrupt eligibility. Always consult an attorney before making any title changes if you're enrolled in the program. Mistake 5, renting out part of the home. If you rent a room, an in-law suite, or any portion of your property, a portion of your taxes may be considered commercial and not eligible for the full reimbursement. This is the section most agents skip, and it's the one that matters most to the 55 plus seller. When you sell your home, you lose your senior freeze enrollment. Your base year goes away. When you move into a new property, whether that's a condo, a townhome, a smaller home, or a 55 plus community, you have to reapply as a new enrollee. You start from zero. You establish a new base year, and that new base year is whatever your taxes are at the time you first qualify in the new property. If taxes have risen, your base is higher. Your future reimbursements will be smaller. Here's the dollar reality of that. Take a Toms River homeowner who enrolled in 2010 when their taxes were $6,500. Their taxes today are $11,200. The state has been reimbursing them $4,700 a year. Over 15 years, that's over $70,000 in cumulative reimbursements. When they sell, that benefit stream ends. Their new condo taxes start at $7,800. Their new base year is $7,800. Their future reimbursements will be based on increases above that. Now, that doesn't mean don't sell. What it means is the senior freeze benefit is a real asset that has real value, and it should factor into your net proceeds calculation and your timing decision. There are 2 timing considerations that matter. First, the year you sell. If you sell early in the year before the November PAS-1 deadline, you may still be able to file and capture that year's reimbursement. But your eligibility depends on whether you still met all the requirements for the full year, including maintaining the property as your principal residence. This is fact specific and worth confirming with a tax advisor before you close. Second, the income limit. In your sale year, your closing proceeds and any reported gain needs to be reviewed against the $163,050 income limit, depending on how your gain is structured and whether the federal $500,000 primary residence exclusion applies. You may or may not have an income issue. This is exactly why I always tell Ocean County sellers, coordinate with your tax advisor before you list, not after you close. I know this is a lot of information, so let me break it down to what actually matters for you right now. If you are currently enrolled in the senior freeze and you're not planning to sell, your one job is to make sure you file your PAS-1 before the November 2nd deadline. That single application covers the senior freeze, stay NJ, and anchor. The state picks the largest benefit for you. I did a complete step-by-step walkthrough of the PAS-1 application in a previous video. That link is pinned in the description below. Watch that before you sit down to file. If you are currently enrolled in a senior freeze and you are thinking about selling, do not list your home before you understand how the sale will affect your eligibility. Your base year, your income for the year, the decisions you make before you sign a listing agreement will determine whether you protect that benefit or lose it. That conversation starts with your tax advisor and it ends with a broker who understands the material. I'm that broker for Ocean County. My number is in the description. If you're not yet enrolled in the senior freeze and you believe you qualify, file now. Every year you wait is a year you're not building your base year gap. The sooner you enroll, the more valuable the benefit becomes over time. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. The senior freeze is one of the most valuable property tax benefits available to Ocean County homeowners, but it only works if you file, if you stay eligible, and if you understand what happens to it when your life changes, especially when you sell. If you're planning to sell and you're currently enrolled in the senior freeze, please talk to a tax advisor before you list and talk to a real estate broker who understands how the program interacts with your closing. Most agents don't know the material. I do. I'm happy to walk through it with you. I made a free 2026 Ocean County 55 plus sellers checklist that covers the senior freeze, the NJ exit tax withholding, the federal capital gains exclusion, and everything else a 55 plus seller in this market needs to know before they close. Comment checklist below and I will send it to you directly. If this video helped you, please subscribe. I post every Wednesday covering the financial and real estate topics that matter to Ocean County homeowners. Hit the bell if you don't miss it. I'm Joseph Haberl, owner at Our Show Real Estate. My number is pinned in the description. I'll see you Wednesday.